Gonna record that. There's nothing better.
And it started now.
That's good.
Okay. Hi, my name is Naomi, and I just kind of wanted to talk about jobs and careers and how that fits in with God. Yeah, it's exciting. Right at the beginning of time, after God created the heavens and the earth and the plants and the animals and man, He gave Adam a job to do. It was a good thing that he was given that job. It gave him a sense of purpose, and it glorified God through what he was doing, which was naming all of the animals. After the fall of man, though, man still had to keep working. And really, since that time, people have kind of viewed jobs more as something that they just have to do to get by, to survive, as opposed to something that's actually given to them from God. Working is a good thing. It was given before the fall of man. So this is applicable to all people because everybody's going to have a job someday, and we just wanted to talk about a specific application. One thing that I'm really interested in is aviation, specifically mechanics, but also piloting. I've been in the program and I'm working as a mechanic right now, so I wanted to see how I could try and apply that in a way that would glorify God. Lots of people have considered the idea of missions aviation as a way to do that. This isn't a new idea. People have been doing missions aviation for many years, and there's applications for it in practical, physical ways and also in spiritual realms. Missions aviation was started right after World War II by a few pilots who had been in the Air Force, in the Royal Air Force, and then started seeing some ways that they could use aviation missionally. I think that the first mission that they actually flew was for a medical doctor in Australia. After that point, it started growing, and eventually there was an organization formed called Christian Airmen's Missionary Fellowship, which later became renamed Missionary Aviation Fellowship, or MAF, which is one of the biggest organizations that there is, and that was the first one we founded. Since then, lots of other organizations have kind of followed the same idea. There's African Inland Mission, New Tribes Missions, Jungle Aviation and Radio Services, which works with Wycliffe, amongst a bunch of other guys. Nate Saint, a pioneer in missions aviation, once commented saying, "People who do not know the Lord ask why in the world we waste our lives on missions. They forget that they too are expending their lives. And when the bubble has burst, they will have nothing of eternal significance to show for the years they have wasted." That's part of the idea behind missions aviation, is that you're living your life for something. No matter what job you're doing or not doing, your life is being spent on something. So these people are trying to take something that they love and use it for God's glory. There's lots of different ways that you can do this, but they're using aviation to support missionaries who are in the field. So there's obviously a drive to have missions aviation, but how does that actually look like? What does that actually look like in the field? Missions aviation can be used for lots of different things: transporting missionaries, bringing medical supplies, disaster relief, Bible translators, Bibles, pretty much anything that you can think of. A quote from the Missions Aviation Fellowship website said that in the last year, Missions Aviation Fellowship, MAF fleet, flew 2,616,925 nautical miles. More importantly, MAF served over 600 organizations, 5 with restricted access, flew 94,005 passengers, and 8,513,327 pounds of cargo. Clearly, there is a need and an application for missions aviation. John Dalton, who is a member of MAF that I had the privilege to correspond with a while ago, said some things about the cargo that he carries. He said satellites and communication equipments, boat motors so that local pastors and missionaries can get around on boats, live animals like pigs and chickens, famine, earthquake, and other relief flying missionary kids from the dorm back to their village. He said you can't really rate these items. Whatever the current situation is, is the most important. There's a really broad range of practical applications for missions aviation. So that talks about the practical side of it. On the other side is the spiritual side. A lot of missionaries that I've talked to have said that that's even more important than what they're practically doing. Missionary aviators have the privilege to be able to interact with missionaries who are on the field, a lot of which feel really isolated because they don't get so much support from the people who are around them. Maybe they're in a group of people that haven't accepted Christ yet, or just a really different culture, and sometimes their only real connection with the outside world is these pilots that they're talking to. One of the pilots that I was talking to, Brian Shepson, who's also an MAF pilot, described the interaction that they have with the missionaries there not only as being beneficial, but as something that is necessary. It's a really important thing that these people have their support. So their work, yes, it's really physical, yes, it's bringing things and moving people, but it's a lot of prayer and it's a lot of spiritual warfare because they're part of the mission. And that happens to anyone who's in any Christian who's working and trying to live their life for God, and, not being complacent. They're going to find themselves with spiritual battles. And that's something that they really deal with. Ephesians 16:12 says, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places." Any sort of missions work is an extension of that principle, and that includes missions aviation. Missions aviation has a twofold purpose, as we can see: spiritual warfare, and then physically helping the people that they're interacting with. This is a really big privilege that people can use what they love, flying or being a mechanic, and take that in a way that they can apply it for God. And that's not necessarily that you have to go on the mission field for that. That can be just in your job, wherever you are, that you're living missionally for God and being intentional about reaching out to the people around you. So thank you guys so much for listening to me. I hope that you have a lovely day. Good luck with all of you computer people and your speeches too. God bless you all. Amen. Amen.